Thank you, Acting Speaker. I rise to speak on the Education and Training Reform Amendment, Free TAFE Guarantee Bill 2026. Let me start where Victorians start, with the real economy. Housing, infrastructure, care, energy and manufacturing all depend on skilled people. Electricians, plumbers, builders, fitters, aged care workers, early childhood educators, cyber technicians and much more. Most of these pathways run through vocational education and through TAFE. One example, as the member for Mornington, is the Chisholm Institute, which services both Frankston City and the Mornington Peninsula, which has campuses both at Frankston and Rosebud. The Frankston campus delivers vocational and further educational courses from certificates to diplomas across trades, health, business, IT, hospitality, early childhood education and allied health. The Rosebud campus ensures Mornington Peninsula residents have closer access to high-quality TAFE training locally, supporting apprentices, school leavers, career changers and small businesses. Where people are educated locally, they are also more likely to stay and build their lives and get jobs and start families locally as well. That is why this side of the chamber supports a strong VET system with TAFE at its heart. And it's why our test for this bill is simple. Will it help more Victorians get skills, finish their qualification and move into work? On the bill's substance, Part 3 inserts a free TAFE guarantee. The Minister must determine each year a list of VET courses to be provided by TAFE institutes and participating dual sector universities free of tuition fees, and must determine the class of students eligible to undertake those courses. The list must be published. But the bill is explicit that this provision creates no legal right and gives rise to no civil course of action. In other words, students get a published list, not an enforceable entitlement. Part 4 inserts a TAFE funding guarantee. It requires that at least 70% of training and skills funding in a target year be paid to TAFE institutes and dual sector universities. Of course, I note that no TAFE is actually free. In this situation, it is taxpayer-funded TAFE. But the bill deems the guarantee met if the average across a 3-year window, year before, target year, year after, equals 70%, and it defines the first target year as the calendar year commencing the 1st of January 2028. In addition, public reporting is delayed, and the bill again includes a no legal right and no civil course of action clause. Now, there are a number of issues, though, with respect to this bill. Now, we need to note the fact that, for example, Jobs and Skills Australia projects that employment for technicians and trade workers will increase and grow by about 195,000 nationally over the decade to May 2025. So there is a massive skills pipeline challenge in front of us, and meeting demand depends on the throughput of our systems that we have in place. And we need a system that ensures not just that people are enrolling, but that they are actually completing their courses. And the evidence is showing a significant lack of completion of courses in the system at the moment. The qualifications completed per 1,000 people aged 15 to 64 in Victoria was 15.9, below the national rate of 20 and higher only than the ACT. And student satisfaction sits below national levels too. In 2024, 87.6% of Victorian government-funded qualification completers reported being satisfied with overall quality, compared with 89.5% nationally. So we want to push a number of amendments to improve this bill. These are constructive amendments and push for a stronger policy direction. First is to mandate transparent course-level reporting. Second is to lift funding intensity to match the task. Third is to set explicit completion and workforce targets in priority areas aligned with demand, such as construction, electrical trades, care and clean energy pathways, and fund the supports that keep students and apprentices in training. 4, we want to protect regional access. And finally, we want to keep quality and capacity across the whole training market. TAFE should be the anchor and it should be a standard setter. But Victoria will not build and fill the gap of skill shortages by sidelining high-quality non-TAFE providers that can fill gaps, particularly in niche and regional delivery. Funding should follow quality and outcomes under strong regulation. In conclusion, Acting Speaker, the government says that the Liberals are anti-TAFE. This is simply untrue. We back TAFE, we back affordability, but we will not accept guarantees that are drafted to avoid accountability. We will not accept a system that celebrates enrolments while failing to publish the data that tells Victorians how many people actually finish and move into work. That is simply more waste. If the government wants bipartisan support, then it should accept bipartisan accountability. That is the guarantee we should legislate, that Victorians deserve a training system that turns enrolments into qualifications and qualifications into skilled workers. Thank you, Acting Speaker.